Alrighty, hello folks, hello lovelies. Yeah, I just did an entire tutorial and it wasn't filming, so because I can't see what you see. So let's try take number 2. All right, hope everybody's doing well on their end of the video. Sorry about pointing. Yeah, I went through this whole thing, went to shut it off and realized it wasn't filming. Yeah, good morning. So what I'm going to do is I'm making a cardigan out of the toy box. I have 10 skeins of this, and it's a 5 weight. There's 109 yards per ball, so that's, a little over 1,000 yards. I figured that would be plenty of yarn to do this. And what it is going to be is and I hope you're in the camera. I hope everything is in the camera part, and I hope I'm recording this time. Can't tell. Hold on. Let me peek. Yeah, it looks like it's going. And what do you see? All right, I apologize. I just can't see, so you could see up to here. All right. So, what I'm making is a vertical cardigan. Now, this video is for those folks like myself who cannot read patterns, or even if you do read patterns. But I do not know how to read patterns, so if you don't know how to read patterns, and we rely on tutorials. This, what I'm going to show you, and hopefully other ones that I have showed and will show, kind of help you to just design your own stuff with basic guidelines. So what I'm doing is, this is going to be a vertical. I hope you could see it's vertical, the stitches. These are half double crochet stitches. Now let me find my paper. All right, disregard this paper because this is just me literally jotting down what I'm doing. This is how I crochet things. So I wanted to make a vertical cardigan, and the colorway on this is so gorgeous. And when I was doing the back panel, I was like, you know what, this really looks so much better vertical. So that's why this is that way. So for me, now you can adjust this to whatever size you want to make it. For me, from the shoulders to where I wanted it to be on me, and it just a little lower than my waist, it was 46. I chained 46, plus 1 to turn your work, and that's what the length was that I liked. And the width-wise, for me, was 32 rows of this. Okay, one thing I do is you start with the chain when you're starting your work, and when you're going to be joining things together, such as a sweater, I end with a chain stitch. Like this is half double, I did 32, and then I did the last row in a single crochet. So my beginning of my panel and the end of my panel are the same. For me, it's easier to count my stitches, and I can also join with just using one piece of thread instead of 2, especially if it's a 5 weight. It's thick enough to join with that. Right, so for the front panels, I did, let's see here, let's try this all over. I can't believe I did the whole video and did not have the camera going. Sorry about the shaking. Yeah, we're sitting outside. It's a beautiful breeze out, sweltering heat. I think we're in a heat advisory up here yesterday and today up in western New York. So back to what we're doing here. All right, so now our 2 front panels, and again, I hope you're in view, you can see my stitch, are the same thing. I did 46 plus 1 to turn because I want the same exact length as the front panel. And I did 16 rows, and the last row was a single crochet, because that's what I'm going to attach to the back panel. All right, now by doing so, if you could see, my front panels reach perfectly because it's 32 and then 2 16s, and I didn't even have to figure out the math on that one. It just worked out that it meets perfectly in the middle. Now, if you want, and what I do sometimes, I really should have put this one the other way around because I see this lip going up, but it's not the end of the world, folks, because both sides, since you're going back and forth, both sides look alike. you can, and I have in the past on many other sweaters, is go from the back of the neck and go around, go down the front side, go around the bottom, come up, go up the other side of the front, go around to the neck, back to that back of the middle of the back of the neck, and that gives you a nice finished edge. Or if you made your front panels a little shorter and there's a gap, you could do that a few times. That would give your sweater a little more length and a little more front panel to meet, and also a little bit of a height in the back of the neck. If you want to have it like maybe almost cuff or just kind of cup up, right up on the back of your neck. All right, so that's another thing you could do. All right, so now what I do is when I finished each front panel, did my 16 rows and then my single crochet, I leave a long tail because I'm going to do that, yes. I'm going to sew the front and back together. And how I sew the front and back together, because again, I have a hard time with keeping count with numbers, because oftentimes I'm watching your videos and stuff while I'm crocheting, and then if you guys say a number completely off, so I tried writing them down. Sometimes I do that, but even then I forget, did I write it before I started the row or after? It's just easier for me to use stitch markers. So what I do is I leave the tail, and then I start from the bottom, and I attach the tail. Start sewing the stitches together, the pieces together. If you look, this is actually the wrong side of the sweater. But how I do this to make it look so seamless is, if I can find here we go. And this works really well with a thicker, like a 4 or 5 weight yarn, or even thicker, is when you put the two pieces together, I hope you can see this, I go through just that's why now we have the chain, remember, both sides are chain stitched, single crocheted stitched. I go through one, and then preferably the back part of each stitch, pull through, and then I'm going to come back in the other direction and go back and forth and weave those pieces together. So when you do that, that's the wrong side of the sweater. So that looks pretty darn good. Some people do a single crochet up, and then you got a knobby, or, slip stitch is cool, but then you also have a lip by doing that. So this just, I think, looks better. And so that's how I do that. And I start from the bottom, and I work my way up, because it's definitely most important to have your bottoms match. And if you're off by a stitch, like maybe one panel, you missed a row and you're doing 45 instead of 46, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to frog this whole thing out. No, you don't, because you can fudge that stuff when you're putting the sleeve on. Okay, you can just somehow add a stitch while you're doing your sleeve, or lose a stitch, or whatever you need to do. So that's the back and side panels. I did not, if you notice, attach the shoulder blade yet. I'm going to do that probably after I incorporate the sleeves, because I'm not really sure how far up I want to go, because I did make it where it joins together. If I go to here, my neck's a little thicker than that. I know I'm small, folks, but it's not a pencil neck. So I'm probably going to just join it back farther so I have a little bit of flaps on either side. We'll see how that looks. So that's something I have to think about and work on, because I haven't figured that one out yet. So now for the sleeves, and I love the vertical part of this. Now for the sleeves. Again, like my panels, and I didn't do it with these panels because it was easy, but if you've got a little more of a tricky stitch that you're doing, if you're doing a repeat stitch of maybe 3 different things in a row, I often will do simultaneously both panels, work on one for the first 3 row, or the 3 rows if it's a 3-row repeat, go to the other one with a 3-row repeat, work my way back, because it's hard to count the stitches or look at them and see how many you've done. So that's, like I said, the double crochet, and then when you do a single crochet on your edge, man, it makes it so much easier to count your stitches. So what I'm doing with the sleeves, I got it all tangled up because I threw it over there because I had already done this video. So what I'm doing with the sleeves is I measured from hereabouts to the top of my shoulder after I chained it. And you got to remember, when you chain, I do a looser chain because your stitch is going to have more give to it than your chain. So I try to do a little bit looser chain, and I chained it, and I found that 40 stitches was a pretty good length for my arm, because I'm taking into consideration that the body of the sweater is going to hang a little bit off of my shoulders. So I didn't want to go all the way to here to the top of my shoulder, because it's actually going to attach farther down off my shoulder. So I made these, they may look a little short, but it'll work. And there again, I did a chain of 40, then just going back and forth with the half doubles. Oh, I didn't, because the first one I showed you this. I'm using the 8mm hook. This is a 5mm weight. I don't know if that's the recommended. I don't pay attention to recommended. I pay attention to, hey, this works for me, so this is going to be fine. And that's what works. This works for me. And I'm going to do a 40. So I did 40 plus 1, turned my work, half double crocheted. I found that 16 rows or 15 rows is what I left. And again, I feel so bad because the first video was so much better, folks. I promise you. But unfortunately, I wasn't recording. Here's what I did. When you stitch your sides, you leave the opening on the top. So that's why I start at the bottom, because you could fudge the top a little bit. The opening, and I didn't attach the top. The opening for the sleeves is, I don't remember what I wrote. Here, hold on. I left 16, so it's about 32 inches around. I'm going to have to recount, because I might have done an extra stitch on one of these in the last video. So I'm going to have to recount the stitches that goes around, and that's how many rows I'm going to make for the sleeve. All right, so when I first did it, 16 worked out. So I'm going to do 16 rows of this, and then, well, I'm going to do 15 rows. Let me redact that. 15 rows of this, and my last row will be joining my first row, my first chain, to the last row, and I'm going to make a tube. And then I'm going to leave, well, I did leave a tail on the beginning of this because I was showing you how to do it. I do leave the tails long enough so it's one less knot, one less thread to tie in. This is what I'm going to needle and sew with to join the pieces. So I'm going to crochet. I'm not going to sew in these ends. I'm going to crochet my last row, my 16th row, to the very first row of my sleeve to create a tube. Okay, and I do these sometimes, like again, because if it's a complicated stitch, I do these simultaneously, which in this one I don't have to because it's a defined half double, but I will, go to the 40, yeah, right, maybe, right? Forget it, I'm not doing it right now. And go to the 40 stitches, add one, come back and forth, tie in the 16th. Then I will take the seamed part and add the seamed part to the bottom of the armpit on the sweater. And start there, stitch it around, and hopefully it'll fit, because you could fudge better under the arm, because, I mean, really, how many times do you hold your arm up and people are staring at your armpit? Not that often. So anything you've messed up on, you can fix under the arm without anybody noticing. And then I will probably just join the top to leaving a few so that I have room for my neck and not get choked while I'm wearing the sweater. Anyway, yeah, and my cute little hook, my scissors. Aren't these adorable, the little hummingbirds? So anyway, of course, the first one was much better than this, but this is, I hope I put everything into this one that I had tended to did put in the first one that wasn't filming. Yeah, unbelievable. It's still early. Haven't finished my coffee yet. I never finish my coffee when I do these because I have the most energy in the morning, and as the day wears, I peter out. So that's why a lot of these are in the morning, and that's why, hence, I have not often finished my coffee when I'm videotaping. But that is my vertical sweater. I can't wait to finish it and then show you how the finished project worked out. Well, thanks so much for hanging in there, folks. Thank you for your support. Hey, don't forget the thumbs up. Yeah, leave a little comment. How do you like this? What do you think of this vertical instead of horizontal sweater? I'm really, I'm digging it so much that, you could make this and like I did 46 stitches for the length, but you can do this as long as you want to make it even a long duster or a crop top. If you want to go shorter, you could do a crop top. Crop tops are back in again. Unfortunately for me, I won't be wearing them because that's exactly where my belly starts to protrude, right where the crop top is, and I don't need to accentuate that. So, all right. Any questions? Yeah, leave a comment. If you want to give me a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. And my little dog is running down the driveway, so I have to go save her or save whoever she's barking at. So I can hear her barking. Have a wonderful day. Stay well, and I hope this did you good. I'll try to do more, and yeah, love you guys.